best entertainment on the earth. Tune in for Comics with Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I did a video talking about boobs a little bit ago, and it's more funny, kind of responding to a male talking, a male with a email talking about boobs and how they've been, reduced in comics. And in fairness, there's 2 points that I want to get to that I probably should have mentioned. Number one, I do want to stress, if you're looking for boobs in comics, there are boobs out there. They definitely are. Empowered is a great comic with boobs. There's plenty of books out there with boobs. You can find them, not even that hard. But it is true that several Marvel comics have definitely deprioritized boobs. And my main point was to compare kind of the 90s, which were excessive boobs. And I again, as I said there, some people like the excessive boobs. To me, they look bizarre and off-putting. It was like bad art. It wasn't even boobs at that point. But not in all cases. I think Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, they drew some pretty great boobs. But anyway, you absolutely can find boobs. But the other point comes to me with this email, and I think they have a good point. So here's the mail. It says, "Hey Perch, I'm an irregular listener." Well, that's not very nice. No, sorry. "And a first-time writer, but generally dig the show. Anyway, I want to comment on a certain phrase that seems to come up often regarding a certain topic, and I don't want you to take it as one that's purposely directed at you or any stance you might have, as it's one that comes up a good bit, and that phrase is, go look at porn instead." That's true. In my video talking about boobs, I've said, if you're really interested in seeing boobs in comics, porn is probably a better option for you because it's going to give you a lot more of what you want concentrated. It's easier. It's probably more than what you're ever going to get in the comics. But before I get to the rest of the mail, I want to explain where I'm coming from that comment, because as the person identifies, and some people I think in the comments said the same. That's not meant to be dismissive, like you could always have porn. It's meant to be more pragmatic, as in, no, but seriously, like there's porn. I sent you some links. Like I'm trying to be helpful. Completely serious here. It's the same way I say, look, if you're looking for comic accurate superhero costumes in movies, costumes that in the movie look like the characters in the comics and do a really good job at it, your best bet is Axel Braun and porn. And I am not joking. The superhero costumes he does are comic book accurate. And in many cases, like the Wonder Woman costume that he put together, looks far more like Wonder Woman. And not even from a porn way, just like a legit good costume. I have no idea how he does it. And if you're going to go searching around the internet, make sure that probably not safe for work. But if you put in Axel, Axel, Braun, Braun, into Google, and you put like superheroes, check it out. I'm not joking. Guy does an amazing job. I have no idea what possesses the guy to do it, but damn it if he does it. Now, some of the actresses inside the costumes get absurd, and that kind of ruins some of the costumes' effectiveness, because they don't, the body physique is, porn star and not necessarily, muscular or anything. But in many cases, it's good. The Wonder Woman is a classic example where it just looked a lot better than what was in the movie. If you could take Gal Gadot and put her into the costume that they had in his movies, it would be far better, in my view. So, but anyway, as I say, go look for it. I'm meaning it not as a, not as a slam or a slight or anything, but legitimate, like, no, this is a good thing for you. But I get why. I get how it's a dismissive phrase, and no offense intended, I guess, is my comment. And by the way, when I say go look at these costumes, if you haven't done it yet, no, you're not going to see like, crazy thongs up the ass or just like weird porn looking costumes. That's not why I'm saying they look good. I'm saying they actually are tailored to look very realistic to the comics. And I think that's pretty cool. I actually think that if Axel Braun was, I think something that would be an interesting, I don't know how much money he'd make on it, but if he did like a poster book that was not, no nudity in it, but actually could be sold on, supermarket shelves of just kind of the character in the costume put together real well, it would sell. It would sell great, and it wouldn't be adult. It could, kids could see it. It would just be, a photorealistic. Like, here's what superheroes could look like if they tried to mirror the comics more. I think that would be kind of cool. But anyway, that's just throwing that out there. Okay, back to the mail. I understand you yourself have no beef with the cheesecake, but I feel like this comment is often a very extreme reaction that not only misses what certain readers want, but also paints us in a somewhat negative light at the same time. That is fair. Not my intent, but I get your point. You're not wrong. Simply put, we do not want porn. We know full well that porn exists. What we want in comics, as well as other media, is not porn, and it's not even entirely about the sexy bits, though I won't pretend that I don't enjoy them. I enjoy them too, hey. What we want is that hyper-exaggerated escapist fantasy, the extreme body proportions and cakes both cheese and beef. I've never heard it said like that. Okay. Cakes, cheese, and beef do more than just titillate and excite. They help sell part of the fantasy. They help create that sense of larger-than-life escapism that we look to in order to escape from the dreary and often boring reality. If you've ever seen images of Frazetta or Vallejo paintings, it's something to that effect. Wonderful artist, by the way, if you've never seen Frazetta or Vallejo, and if you haven't, why haven't you? And go look at that right now. After you're done looking at the Axel Braun corn costumes, go look at those guys. Heroic exaggeration to make us feel like something greater than just our mortal, mundane self. Look, that's really well said. I think that's a great. I can't. I almost deserves to just stand alone. That's really well represented, well reasoned. Agreed. But let's continue the mail. While sex appeal is certainly a draw, it feels like whenever sex appeal is a factor, it's written off in a way that ignores what brings us to creating the fantasy and merely treat it as something crass and vulgar. Readers understand porn is an option, but what they want is a hyper fantasy of larger-than-life heroes and heroines in larger-than-life scenarios in a world of imagination. Porn does not give this, and instead of creating a fantasy of adventure and heroics, merely creates one of forgetting to have money for pizza. I realize you yourself certainly no prude, but your recent video on boobs gave me the idea to hopefully clarify and make an argument against the go look at porn argument. Thanks for reading. Don't feel you need to reply. It's junk mail. Okay, yeah, no problem. So, again, I totally agree. I agree with this point. And I think there's a couple bigger things in there. I mean, forget about the entire porn sex appeal aspect. Comics are designed to be escapist fantasies. They are designed to be, bigger than life. It's why a lot of the slice of life comics fail so miserably. Yes, I think people do enjoy and can kind of appreciate some slice of life type activities. It's kind of fun as a new thing. There's a little bit of, just some adventure there of like, here's Scott Pilgrim when it came out. Certainly, it's called Slice of Life. Now the guy's going into video games and murdering people for coins. So I don't know how completely slice of life it is. And certainly there's been some comics where the heroes eat dinner and it was new, unique, and novel and kind of a different thing. And that was exciting to some extent because it was we hadn't seen that before. But once you've seen it a lot, it's suddenly a lot less exciting, a lot less interesting. And on top of that, it's, you get to this point where, look, I think, eating dinner is novel. Eating dinner in every comic book is suddenly not novel. And the reason why the novelty works once or twice is because it's different. But people don't want to see their own lives in comic books. They do want that escapist fantasy. They do want that bigger than life. They want these scenarios. That is what is cool about comics. And the biggest gift, somebody said it elsewhere, but it's true, is comic books can do things movies cannot do because there's no budget constraint. You can do anything on that page. You could blow up planets. You're limited by the writer's imagination and by the artist's ability to render what the writer has in their mind. And that's it. Everything else is fair game. And how amazing and incredible is that? That you have that complete blank canvas to do anything you could possibly want. I think that's a pretty incredible gift, and it is a gift. But that's the magic and the joy of comics, and so I think it goes along with this topic as well. Yes, you're right. Yeah, people know there are boobs out there. They know that there's porn out there. They know all these things are factors. But they come to comics for this greater than life, adventure. And if comics are suddenly super realistic, they're just basically giving you what you can see, any day of the week. That's not interesting. That's not escapist fantasy. That's not what's the point? Every now and then, as something different, it may be interesting to see a comic book that resembles your own life, but generally you want something you don't see in real life. That's the entire point of comics. So in a weird way, I connect it back to this is why I think I'm impressed with Axel Braun, and I know I'm bringing it back to porn there, but he took the actual realistic superhero costumes and he made them a reality, and that there's something magical and cool about that. I mean, forget about the porn. There's several people I know who have gotten his movies and get them, and dislike the porn, but they love the fact that these characters are walking around. They can see them for the first time, just like they are on the page, and there's something awesome about that as well. I think, so point taken, and I do think that just go look at porn is it is often used as a dismissal kind of comment. It's used to say, hey, hey nerd, you've got your sexy dirty crap over here, and keep your grubby sweaty hands off comics. I mean, that's what some people mean by it. Certainly not what I meant, but I will be the first to admit that was I gave the wrong impression, and I do apologize for that. So good mail. Thank you for writing it in, and thank you for the people who commented on it. And go look up Frazetta, man. Dude, go do Bell. Some of these artists, incredible. Thanks for listening.